Hey there, just a heads up, this episode of the Judo Science Podcast was created with help from AI. Some of the voices you'll hear are synthetic, but the ideas come from real research and real judo.
You know, when we think about peak performance in competitive sports, like especially something as demanding as judo, well, our minds often jump straight to physical stuff, right?
Oh, absolutely. Strength, agility, technique. That's usually the focus.
But what if the real secret weapon lies somewhere else entirely? What if the most crucial battlefield is actually inside an athlete's head?
That's a really interesting way to put it. And, increasingly, that's where the evidence points.
Exactly. So today we're doing a deep dive into exactly that, the fascinating and pretty complex world of psychological factors in elite judo athletes.
And we've got some great sources lined up. Cutting-edge research, right?
We do, from the International Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health and the American Journal of Health Behavior, plus an eye-opening interview with judo legend Teddy Riner.
Reiner. Now, there's someone who knows about the mental game.
Definitely. So our mission for you is to really pull out the most important nuggets here. We want to help you understand how things like mental states, self-management, even tension, how they play a surprising role in success.
And what that might mean for you, for your own life and performance, not just in sports.
Right. So what are we unpacking? Well, first, we'll explore this foundational idea of self-management. It's broader than you might think.
More holistic, yeah.
Then we'll dive into how temporary moods, like tension and vitality, impact how athletes cope under pressure.
And this is where it gets really interesting, with some specific study findings.
Oh, yeah. We'll unravel something the researchers call moderated mediation. Sounds complex, but it's profound.
We'll break it down.
Then we shift to psychological capital. Think of it like a mental shield. We'll see how it deals with anxiety in a surprising way.
Reroutes it almost.
Exactly. And finally, we bring it all together with the champion himself, Teddy Riner. We'll even touch on a contrasting viewpoint just to round things out.
Sounds like a packed agenda. It's fascinating, though, how often we overlook this mental side, isn't it? We focus so much on the physical.
It really is. And the research keeps highlighting it not just for winning, but for things like injury prevention and recovery, too.
That's a crucial point. It's about longevity and resilience as well.
Okay, so let's start with that self-management piece. It's not just about showing up for training, is it?
Not at all. The research we looked at defines it much more broadly. It's a whole strategy, really, encompassing an athlete's body, their mind, obviously their training, but also their daily life routines.
So it's about how they kind of proactively manage their environment and adjust their own actions, like using coping skills effectively.
Precisely. Think of it as this ongoing cycle of self-control, self-regulation. And the studies, they show a really clear link.
Okay, what's the link?
Better self-management leads directly to stronger sports coping skills and higher self-confidence.
Right, and that's huge, especially in judo, where injuries are, well, pretty common.
Exactly. Good self-management isn't just boosting performance on the day. It seems to help prevent injuries and helps athletes get back faster and more smoothly if they do get injured.
That's powerful. It really sounds like a core skill for resilience in general, not just for athletes. But how do we actually, measure these internal states, these moods?
Yeah, that's where tools like the Profile of Mood States, or POMS, come in. It's a scientifically validated way to capture those temporary fleeting mood states.
Like being tense or feeling vital.
Exactly. Tension, that kind of wired, stressed feeling, and vitality, that sense of energy, positive zest,
And the key thing is these aren't just feelings. They actually have a measurable effect.
They absolutely do. There was this compelling study with 124 Korean judo athletes that really shone a light on this.
Okay, what did they find?
They found that tension has what's called a significant moderating effect. It changes the relationship between self-management and sports coping skills.
Whoa, okay. A moderating effect. So, let me see if I get this. Even in a high-risk sport like judo, where you'd expect a lot of tension.
Right. Tension's almost inherent.
If an athlete has higher self-management, their coping skills are actually better, despite that tension.
That's what the data suggests. It's quite counterintuitive, isn't it? We tend to think tension bad.
Totally. So how does that work? It's not about getting rid of tension.
It seems it's more about how the athlete manages its influence.
Yeah.
Better self-management helps them cope more effectively with the tension that's there. It's nuanced.
Okay, that makes sense. And what about vitality? the positive side?
Well, the research also showed vitality plays a big role. And here, self-management acts as a mediator.
A mediator. Can you explain that a bit more? Like, what does that mean practically?
Sure. Think of self-management as like a bridge or a channel. So when an athlete feels high vitality, that positive energy,
Yeah.
good self-management skills help translate that positive feeling into effective coping strategies on the mat or wherever they compete.
Ah, okay. So positive mood plus good self-management, better coping.
Pretty much, yes. It genuinely helps them navigate those competitive pressures more successfully.
Okay, now for the really mind-bending part you mentioned, the moderated mediating effect. This sounds complicated. Tension controls how self-management helps vitality influence coping.
It does sound like a mouthful, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But let's try an analogy. Imagine vitality is like fuel for an engine.
Okay, fuel. Got it.
And self-management is the engine itself, converting that fuel into, say, forward motion or performance, which is coping in this case.
Right.
Now, tension isn't just background noise. In this model, it's more like a critical gear or maybe the throttle within that engine.
Ah, okay.
The level of tension actually changes how efficiently the engine self-management can convert the fuel vitality into effective coping. It's not simple cause and effect.
So high tension might make that conversion less efficient even if vitality is high, or maybe more efficient in some way.
The study found tension specifically regulates that mediating effect. The index value they found was significant, showing this complex interplay is real. Psychological function deeply affects coping, and self-management's role is, itself, managed by the amount of tension present.
Wow. Okay, that is complex, but it highlights how interconnected these mental states are. It's not just one thing.
Definitely not. It's a delicate balance.
So, moving from those temporary moods, let's talk about psychological capital. You called it a mental shield. What is that exactly?
It's a really powerful concept. Basically, it's seen as a positive psychological state of development. It's built from 4 key elements: hope,
Okay.
optimism, resilience, and self-efficacy.
Right, self-efficacy. Just remind us what that means in this context.
Sure. Self-efficacy is simply your belief in your own ability to succeed at a specific task or in a particular situation. Your confidence you can do what's needed.
Got it. So, hope, optimism, resilience, and that belief in yourself. And this acts as a shield.
That's how it functions, yes. A study looked at over 100 collegiate judo athletes in Taiwan, and it really showed this vividly.
What did they find?
A strong, significant link. Higher psychological capital meant significantly better sport performance. It seems to give athletes these robust internal resources to handle stressful situations.
That makes a lot of sense. You build up this inner strength, this kind of mental fortress. Okay, but here's the twist you mentioned earlier about sport anxiety.
Right. This was surprising.
Because you just assume anxiety directly hurts performance,
Yeah.
right? More anxiety, worse results.
That's the intuitive leap, yeah. And the research did confirm that sport anxiety negatively impacts psychological capital. So anxiety does chip away at that mental shield, that hope, optimism, resilience, self-efficacy.
Okay, so it weakens the shield.
But, and this is the key finding, the study showed anxiety didn't directly seem to impact sport performance itself. The direct statistical link wasn't significant.
Wait, really? So anxiety is there, it weakens the psychological capital, but it doesn't directly tank performance. How does that work?
Instead of hitting performance directly, psychological capital acts as the intermediary. It mediates the effect.
Okay, so it's like the anxiety hits the shield first.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it. Your psychological capital acts like mental armor. The anxiety might be present, it might even dent the armor a bit, but the strong capital buffers its negative impact on actual performance.
Wow. So the implication is you don't necessarily need to eliminate anxiety, which is often really hard.
Right, maybe impossible sometimes.
But building up your psychological capital is the key strategy. That's how you mitigate anxiety's effects and boost performance.
That's precisely what the findings suggest. Build the mental fortitude, the hope, optimism, resilience, self-efficacy, and you're better protected against a performance-damaging potential of anxiety.
That's huge. Okay, this all leads perfectly into hearing from a champion. Teddy Riner, French judo legend, multiple Olympic golds. His perspective must really ground all this research.
It really does. He's been very open about this stuff. He believes, quite strongly, that mental preparation is just as vital, maybe even more vital sometimes, than the physical and technical training.
And he walks the talk, right? Didn't he work with someone?
Yeah, he's talked about working with a psychologist since he was like 14 years old. That shows a really long-term, professional commitment. It's part of his whole approach.
You have a holistic approach, like we talked about with self-management.
Exactly. He stresses integrating it all. The physical prep, the nutrition, the technical work, and the mental conditioning. It's all one package for him.
What I find really striking is his advocacy for normalizing it, wanting to reduce the stigma.
Yes. He suggested using the term mental coach instead of psychologist, because he felt it might make athletes more comfortable seeking that support.
That's a really practical, insightful point. It shows how deeply he values it.
And it does raise a question for you listening, doesn't it? How do you frame seeking support for your own mental well-being in whatever field you're in? Changing the language can be powerful.
Absolutely. Now, we should mention there are other viewpoints out there. For contrast, someone like John Danaher, the BJJ coach, he has a pretty different take.
Yes, Danaher. He's famously called sports psychology a scam industry, hasn't he? Quite provocative.
Very. His argument basically is that real confidence comes only from actual success in training and sparring, not from, motivational talks. He thinks confidence built just on words crumbles under real pressure.
It's definitely an opposing viewpoint worth noting. Confidence certainly is built through competence and experience, no doubt. But the research we've just discussed, these peer-reviewed studies, they strongly support the idea that mental skills are trainable and they do have a measurable, significant impact.
Right.
The data seems to back up Reiner's approach more consistently.
Right. The evidence points towards things like self-management, psychological capital, understanding tension. These aren't just words. They have tangible effects shown in studies.
Exactly. Reiner's long-term dedication seems validated by this kind of research.
Okay, so let's pull this all together. What's the big takeaway for you listening?
Well, it seems clear that performance, whether it's on the judo mat or in any demanding part of your life, is this really delicate dance, isn't it? Between physical readiness and these profound psychological states.
It's about that proactive self-management we started with, understanding the subtle roles of tension and vitality, and building that protective psychological capital.
That inner reserve of hope, optimism, resilience, and self-efficacy.
And crucially, this isn't just relevant for elite judo players.
Not at all. Think about your own life, your own high-pressure moments, a big presentation at work, a difficult conversation, a challenging project, even just navigating daily stresses.
How are you managing your tension? Are you actively, consciously trying to build up your psychological capital? Are you thinking about self-management for your mind as well as your body?
These are really practical questions stemming from this research.
So here's the final thought to leave you with. If an Olympic champion, someone like Teddy Riner, dedicates years to honing his mental game, seeing it as absolutely equal to his physical and technical skills.
What untapped potential might you unlock? For your own performance, your own well-being.
What could happen if you actively started embracing and developing your own psychological skills? It really suggests that the path to excelling, in sports, in work, in life, it's truly holistic.
And maybe, just maybe, the mind doesn't just follow along, maybe it truly leads the way.
Next time on the Judo Science Podcast, episode 13, The Mental Edge, exploring mental toughness in judo.